welcome or welcome back to my channel, being Louisa. This is my new favourite hairstyle. It's so curly, girl. I don't know how it got so curly. I think being at home is really doing me wonders, you know, it's just doing me wonders. Anyway, so today's video was requested by the student midwife on Instagram, and it is moving away from home for the first time and dealing with those anxieties and pressures and nerves that come with that. And I always want to kind of group it in with a lot of people to ask me like how to make friends at uni and like how you're nervous about being lonely and all that stuff. So I think I would be talking about those things in this as well. Moving away from home for the first time is probably one of the scariest things you'll ever do. I kind of didn't really have time to think about it until I got back. It was funny because leading up to moving away, I was packing this stuff and I was excited, but I was mostly excited about going on holiday. And I've always wanted to go to Barcelona. So I was like, go to Barcelona and then I'm moving away. I didn't really kind of click. They didn't really link together with the fact that I was moving a couple days later. I went to Barcelona on the 11th. We flew out on the 11th and we got back on the 13th. I moved out on the 16th. So literally 3 days later. So for those 3 days, so like I think it's like as soon as we hit down on England, I kind of like freaked the fuck out. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm moving, mum. I looked at her and I was like, ma, in 3 days I will no longer live with you. She was happy. She was like, yeah, like thinking of all the things that she could do now that I'd be gone, which isn't that much more than she does anyway. So she was excited. I was like nervous. I literally was shaking in my boots. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be living at home. I won't have my cats. I won't have the comfort of my room. This room I've been through a lot in, and a lot of great memories have been made, a lot of sad memories have been made, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna miss it. Especially because this is the funny thing as well, I actually only decorated my room, I think it was a year prior I decorated my room, so I'd only had my room painted like this for a year with my new furniture that I bought and paid for a year, and as I was moving away I was like, oh, that's kind of a waste in a sense. It was a lot of money, let me just tell you that. I was like, so it's kind of a waste, but whatever. So I was like excited but very nervous, especially because I had like 3 days to process it all. Comes to moving day, I'm excited, I'm filming, I'm like worried about how I'm gonna film it all. I'm like, okay, is this a good angle, is this a good angle, how am I gonna do it? Oh my gosh, it's not like other YouTube videos. Like that's what I was worried about on moving day, which is kind of great, the fact that I had that to worry about. I remember watching videos with people telling you to keep your door open, like try and be friendly that way. That semi worked, semi didn't. Like every time I would hear someone coming, I'd open my door, I'd be like, hi, I'm Louisa, and it turned out that all the girls were on my course anyway, and one of the girls moved in super late anyway, so I didn't really meet her. So yeah, that's kind of how that went. I was super worried, super nervous, but also excited, but super nervous because I'm like, my mum had been, as much as we didn't get along when I was younger and we still sometimes have our like little disagreements, my mum was my constant. Like she's been one of the only constants in my life, and my brother's been another constant in my life, and I was moving away from them, and the fact that I was moving away from them really scared me more than I like to admit, but it did scare me. And so I went home a lot which might have also been a reason why I didn't make that many friends in halls. I don't know, I'm not really a person that likes to go out the way that they went out in halls. They went ham for freshers and then they went ham like a month into it as well. I was like, that's not my life. And also my church that I go to, or that I went to, I don't know, I'm not quite sure about the church anymore. Like I want a bit more of a homey church. The church I started going to, it was in central London, so it just made sense for me to go home and then go to church, or go to church and then go home. It just kind of made sense for me to do that on the weekend. So I was home a lot. I would go home for the weekend, go to church, and then go back to halls after church, as if I had like uni the next day. But whenever I had days off, I'd always go home. That was just my coping mechanism. That was my way of making it easier transition, especially for the first couple months. I would go home whenever I could because that was my way of keeping sane and my way of lowering my chances of having homesickness by going home. Because yeah, it's a 2-hour bus ride, it was a 2 and a bit hour bus ride, but it was worth it. And also I kind of made it away, so it was only like an hour and a half to get home, so it wasn't that bad traveling. That was kind of my way of coping, just going home a lot. But then when I started to make friends, I did stay back a bit and sometimes go out with them, but otherwise I just stayed back because I just couldn't be able to go home, or I had a video to do. And then once I'd done and edited the video and uploaded it, I was like, it's just too late to go home, so what's the point? So you kind of start to slowly get used to being away from home. And I think the way that it worked for me was I'd go home every weekend, but then I started to like change it up and go home every other weekend, and then I'd go home for a day and not the whole weekend. So like I'd go home, or I'd go home like Saturday night and then be at home obviously for like the night, and then Sunday morning go to church and then go back to halls. So that was kind of the way I kind of worked it out to that point where I felt really comfortable. And yeah, so that's kind of my tip, I guess. Go home as much as you can to begin with, and then slowly cut that down to the missing every other chance to go home, and then keep on doing that until you're just used to being away from home, which will take a while, but you'll get there eventually. Especially if you do make close friends or friends really quickly, you'll be like making plans to go out with them, so you won't really have time to go home. Or if you find really cool activities to do, you won't have time to go home because you'll be doing those activities. If you join a club or society, you won't have time to go home because you'll be in that club and society. So that would be something to think about as well, joining one of those. Making your room as comfortable and homey as you can is a really helpful thing. I instantly knew that I wanted to have my room in a way that kind of reminds me of the important things and also reminds me of the people I love. So that's why above my bed I had the fairy lights, because I love fairy lights, but then I had the pictures on them of my past few holidays with my mum and my best friend from secondary school, because those were really important memories for me, and it was a way of me remembering the people that I loved. And on my camera and on my laptop I have pictures of my brother, my sister-in-law, which is very rare to get a picture of her, and their dogs, because I love their dogs so much. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I also had things like that give me comfort and like to remind me of like the people that I love. Also I had things like quotes on the walls, and those were mostly Bible verses, to be honest with you, except for one was like Black women empowerment quote one, but the rest were Bible verses, because those are things that I knew I would need. So one was Jeremiah 29:11, and it was, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And I had like that on the wall because I knew that there would be times that I'd be scared and I'd be like, oh my gosh, this makes no sense, this is the most silliest plan I've ever heard of, why am I doing this? So I had things on the wall, quotes on the wall, to remind me like, no, this is why, like there is a reason, there is a purpose, there is a plan for your life. So yeah, that's also things I had to make it feel a bit more homey and a bit more comfortable. And I make sure I brought my throw blanket. That is something that makes me feel so comfortable. But yeah, so I hope this helps. I hope this can like give you some ideas and tips and tricks, and let me know how it goes. And until tomorrow, keep on being you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below with any questions or suggestions, and don't forget to subscribe to get weekly updates. Bye y'all.